I was a whore for so long on the level that I could
Shout
never
out to
begin.
Ibiza, though. I've had those
For
years.
sure.
Definitely
For
good
sure.
times.
Or Mykonos
Everybody
or
had these
whatever.
years but me.
You've never been to Ibiza?
No, I've never been on a
It's never too
boat.
late.
You should be the one that goes like the opposite way.
Yeah.
You have the kid and then like you don't please
Honestly,
don't do
Esther,
that.
you do
Don't
still-
actually do that. Or
You
bring the
scared.
kid to Ibiza.
You do-
Formentera is beautiful.
I love Formentera.
Yeah.
My titties were out in Formentera.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had those
Formentera
years.
might be one of the prettiest places on the planet.
Yeah, the
It's stunning.
Balearic Sea is very, very good memes.
For
Great
sure.
memes.
For sure. But let's just keep them there.
Yeah, let's keep them there.
Well, Khalyla, let's talk about something pretty serious. So, you and I have been talking for a minute now about potentially starting a Patreon, and
Right.
that's a big effing deal.
Yeah, and we've gotten some requests from you guys.
Yeah.
And for us, it's really important that you're a part of this process. You're a part of the decision making. And
If we were to do it,
if we were,
we want to do it right.
because we're in the early stages of figuring out what we'll be offering, but this is where we need your input.
And we need it to be something, if we do it, that you guys love, something that you guys have been wanting. And that's why we created this survey.
Yeah, so it's basically for us to let us know like what you'd love to see, whether it's bonus episodes, whether it's exclusive content, whether it's behind the scenes stuff.
And the link is included in the description box. So just check out the survey. Let us know, because if we do this, like, our relationship with the slugs is so important to us. So we only want to do this if this is going to be something that you guys love, that you guys get a lot of value from. So if you check out the survey, talk to us, tell us what you'd be looking for if potentially this is something that we decide to do.
You guys, I am super excited to announce that Ebb Ocean Club is launching May 15th. Not only are we launching, but there is a live event happening that day.
And there's a lot of surprises at this live event.
A lot of really fun surprises.
I cannot wait. This is like officially a Khalyla themed live event that I will be at. Bobby Lee will be at. We have some other people in the works who will also be there. I'm so excited. It's May 15th at the Bourbon Room in Hollywood, which is such a cool, iconic venue. And we can't wait to see you guys there and for you to see what we've been planning for this show.
So you guys, May 15th at the Bourbon Room in Hollywood with Esther, with Bobby, a couple more surprise guests. This is a really exciting time for me, and this will be a very special show. I can't wait to see you there. Tickets will be in the description box, and see you May 15th.
Trash Tuesday is sponsored by BetterHelp. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp.
Visit BetterHelp.com/Trash Tuesday today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Trash Tuesday.
Skims.
Am I hearing you right?
Did you hear what I said?
Skims. I can't start this pre-roll without feeling the excitement in my chest, but let me just try and get this out. The Fits Everybody collection is available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X. You can shop now at skims.com. So after you place your order, this is really important. Be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows.
Skims. Khalyla, will you introduce me to your friend?
Yeah, happy to. Ooh, I like this look.
Hello, my name is Mike. I'm from the future.
You guys, I had
Sure.
I
Very
had the
formal.
pleasure of meeting this fine young gentleman very recently. And I was very impressed by his overall cadence and warmth and demeanor, and we hit it off very quickly. So I was like, you have to come on Trash Tuesday. He's an author. He's a podcaster, a YouTuber, a foodie.
Ooh.
What have I missed, Mike?
Oh man, a work in progress, sweaty.
Ooh, work in
I
progress.
love
And
the
my sweaty comrade.
Yeah.
Please welcome Mike Majlak.
Oh man.
And did I ever see some smash burgers on his IG feed in my research?
Yeah, that's
10
my
out of
thing.
10 burger.
10 burger. Yeah, we're 10 out of 10 burger. Yeah, that's my baby right now. We just did Rolling Loud Los Angeles. We had our biggest weekend ever. last weekend at a big hip hop festival here in Los Angeles. But yeah, do a number of things. So that was a very adequate introduction. Wait, do you guys have a jingle like
Do
before
we?
the show starts?
We have a mid-show jingle. We have a thing called Banana Break, where we eat bananas.
Oh yeah, I
And
just
then-
realized how many bananas there are on set.
But we do have a pre-show in the beginning of the show. It's a song that Bobby wrote. And
It's
it's
like a little like
vibey.
do-do-do-do-do.
I've never not liked a song before hearing it before. I don't like it. Bobby wrote, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not one bit.
Wait, what's the deal there?
No, I'm just messing around. I love Bobby. He's great.
Okay.
I have
He's
a question
awesome.
for you. I know
Yeah.
that you guys have a pretty fiery, both loving and fiery like relationship since he went on ImPaulsive and basically derailed your entire podcast.
No, my life. My entire life. Bobby Lee ruined my entire life. I'm standing on that, dude. He took away our pure, sweet George.
But like not even speaking like hyperbolically,
Okay,
like, do
yeah,
you
yeah. I just
really
gotta stop
feel as
fucking
though
around.
like he was like sort of like the person that really took it there?
No, like I was just on TigerBelly last week. We were talking about it before the show, and we talked a little bit about it on that show. It's like there was just a lot of like underlying scenarios and situations. I think like to have a relationship, business, friendship, showship that lasts long in this world that we live in nowadays is very difficult. Like the industry is extremely difficult to navigate, especially with very big personalities. And there definitely was like a bunch of underlying, crap that was like involved with the situation as it existed before Bobby came on the show.
Yeah.
And then Bobby came on the show and it was like your back patio, but your like drunk uncle built it and somebody just throws a toothpick on it and it just collapses.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he's
saying?
like Salt Bay for wounds.
No, legit, dude. He just dropped a bunch of salt into the deep wound that already existed. Yeah, there's just like a bunch of shit there, dude. Like just a bunch of poop. And Bobby just f***ing kung paoed that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like karate chopped the shit out of it. And we had shows after it. We did a few shows after it. But it just wasn't ever really the same after that. And that was right around the time that I relapsed.
Wait,
No, I'm kidding. That's
I
not
was like,
true.
wait, you've been
I'm sorry.
sober.
That's a dark joke. I shouldn't even say that. No, but he made me want to. Bobby, I'm rolling back on this. Bobby Lee ruined my life. That's just the
leave it there.
exclamation point on it.
let's leave it there.
That's it.
Wait, I have a big reveal for the both of you that I feel like neither of you have caught yet.
Mm-hmm.
But please see my t-shirt today.
Oh my God.
God.
Well, she
Wait.
might not understand why.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah,
This is my favorite show.
of
Wait.
all time.
Like obsessed. Like for people who can't see, it's a Rod Sterling t-shirt, Twilight Zone. I can't believe you have that. Wait, are you really a Twilight Zone head?
Twilight Zone fanatic.
Oh.
Twilight Zone fanatic.
My God.
Like
You guys are so rare. Do you realize like
Yeah.
I don't come across like she's the first person in our age group that has literally like that's the only person where I'm like, Esther, are you really still watching it to this day? Like every
Yeah.
day.
And it's to the point where I realized, because I always say I love science fiction, and then my friends are like, it's called sci-fi. And I'm like, well, not when you like it from the 50s. Like, it's science fiction.
100%. Not only is it science fiction, but when I watch it, I'm watching my favorite program. And I'm watching it with supper. Literally, like, that's good because that's the thing.
And it's taking place at 5 p.m.
5 p.m. And by the way, I'm going to sleep after.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but I don't. I'm a little. See, here's the thing. I've had a little, before we even get into this, I've had a little bit of trouble in the space because as we started the show with, I'm aware of many hats, a master of all trades, but a master of no trades.
A
What's it
jack
called?
of all
Jack
trades,
of all trades,
master
master
of
of
none.
none, right? And I've spent a lot of time in this like influencer, like you guys are in a really cool, like everybody's like, oh, they're hip and like have bananas and like dope ass like backgrounds. Like I'm attached to like the most controversial person on the planet, and that rubs off on me. And people are like, oh, that's Logan's lapdog. He doesn't know about shit. Like he just parrots whatever he says. But I'm into a lot of really cool shit. One of those things is the Twilight Zone.
Okay, also, because I was doing my research last night looking at your Twitter and stuff, I'm like, this guy's a film buff. Like, I love that you love the Zone of Interest. Like, that's not even a streaming movie. Like, you had to go rent that on iTunes or go to a theater. Like, you're definitely not, like, the package that you're presented in is not matching what I'm finding out about you.
God. That is the most, I could cry. That's the most accurate like statement ever. And unfortunately, like, I've dug this hole for myself a little bit.
Initially, before I met you, I was like, here's someone who's probably very hyper masculine, loves sports. Like, I had a very preconceived idea about you. Right. But then the moment we met, I was like, oh no, this man is like a girl's girl.
Yeah. Oh God, whoa.
I mean, like,
whoa. See, have I misrepresented myself again? I wouldn't go that far.
But I mean, like, you know how to like be around women. You know how to talk to us. You know how to like just sort of like
it's very Mark Maron.
It is really Mark Maron.
I grew up with two sisters.
Okay, there we go.
Extremely tight relationship with my mother. Extremely tight. That's the best relationship that I have in the world. I talk to her every day. She's my hero, my everything. And so and by way of my dad, I also love women on the opposite end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm now in a committed relationship and have been dating my girlfriend Sarah for 7+ months now, and am finally kind of locked into a place where that's comfortable for me and everything's going well there. And so,
does she watch the Twilight Zone? Do you make her?
I haven't really. I've been trying to push her towards it. I think it's almost like you kind of got to wean people onto it, right?
Yeah, maybe start with like a couple favorites here and there.
Well, it's almost like well, for sure, but it's almost like you have to start with like almost like, hey, let's watch some Black Mirror episodes tonight. Right?
Oh, is that the intro? You think?
100%. Well, Black Mirror is good for everybody, and then maybe you could dial them. And make no mistake, Black Mirror is simply an updated Twilight Zone. Black Mirror is a play off of the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone walked so that Black Mirror could run. Yes,
but for me, part of what I love about the Twilight Zone is the charm of the era, and like it's funny, like when you go back and watch them, you can tell so much of the culture was impacted by like aliens. Like, I feel like even more so, way more so than today, like there's just such specific topics that they keep going back to. Whereas Black Mirror is just more commentary on today's society, which I'm like, I don't need that. I want to know like when life was slower and simpler.
Sure. But what I learned about Rod Serling in my most recent research for this episode was he had a lot of his ideas, or even a lot of the episodes that he wrote for Twilight Zone, he wrote in the Philippines as a soldier during World War II when the Japanese invaded the Philippines. Like, I'm Filipino, and so I like any connection to the Philippines I have to announce. And so he was like in a really miserable spot in his like younger years.
There is a lot of war,
a lot of death, a lot of witnessing death, because this was like a really tragic time. And apparently a lot of his ideas were born there. So shout out to the islands for basically inspiring.
The best show of all time. I mean, listen, like, I don't want to say best show of all time because that's The Sopranos in my eyes, but
that's a decent pitch.
Yeah, that is
decent pitch.
No, for sure. But as far as the Twilight Zone's concerned, yes, you had topical natures around aliens. Cold War was another massive thing. Like the way you described it, Black Mirror being a conversation representative of the times we're currently living in. At the time, that's what the Twilight Zone was.
Yeah.
It was very symbolic of what was going on. And at the time, there was nothing bigger than the Cold War. The Cold War was constantly on everyone's minds. No matter how wonderful of a sunny picnic Sunday it was, in the back of every kid's mind, in the back of every housewife's mind, was the thought that the doomsday bomb could be dropping, right? And people were trained every day at school to get under their desks, to put their hands over their heads. People had bunkers, as was represented in one of my favorite episodes about the bunker in the neighborhood on the Twilight Zone. There's a fantastic episode. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about,
where one of the people,
one family has a bunker.
One family has a bunker. So basically, it's a neighborhood. Oh, this is a great one. It's a neighborhood where all of the neighbors all congregate.
like so emotional.
It is. I almost don't even know if I want to like give it away.
Yeah, maybe not.
But let me give a little bit of lead up. So all the neighborhood would come together and they would have these parties and they would eat dinner at this one man's house and they would make fun of him and pick on him because he had this great bunker. And one night, they're all gathered around and they're having this dinner and the radio comes on in the background, or the kid runs up and tells the dad and says, Pa, there's something on the radio. And they turn it on and this is not a test. This is not a test. We have Russian aircraft event at the airspace. We're under imminent attack. If you have a shelter, get to your shelter. So everyone leaves. I'm getting goosebumps now too.
I know.
All the other families leave and he's got this bunker set up, but only for 3 people. And so he gets into it and he locks the door and you have to deal with this extremely dramatic moment where all of these families and the little children are screaming at the door like, please help us. We have to get in. And he's saying, oh, I kind of want to just blow the episode just to illustrate. I'm sorry, just to illustrate for this one.
It's been out for 100 years almost. We're allowed.
So basically, all of the neighbors are at the door banging to try to get in, and he's like, I can't let you in because if you come in, the air, the food, we'll all die. And there's this dramatic moment of self-preservation for him and also for the neighbors who want to get in. They end up bashing the airtight door down, rendering the bunker completely useless. They pummel the guy, they beat him up. It turns into this massive fight where now they're all going to die. And then in this crazy turn of events, it was all a mistake. There was no bombing.
You know what I'm realizing is I can handle Twilight Zone alone in bed at night, but like when the lights are shining and like I'm near humans, I'm like, this is too much. It's like I don't want to be in the real world when I think about it.
Who is your 3-person bunker? Who makes the cut?
Probably you and Dave.
I think so it's 3. It's not you plus 3, it's just 3.
Just 3.
Totally,
yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very useful. Do you know your 3?
George and Bobby Lee. those three people for sure.
Do you find yourself as someone who has, because for me a big part of what I love about the Twilight Zone is obviously like the science fiction, but also the past of it. Do you find yourself longing for the past and old things? Is that part of it for you as well or no?
100%. I mean, it's like that stuff to me is just so symbolic of a time when man and woman together were making this, were just molding the forever of eternity, right? And like, I watched Oppenheimer last night for the first time. I hadn't seen it. I watched it on the plane on the plane ride home.
I haven't seen it either.
It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
I have to sort of prep myself, I think, because I do understand like how heavy and long it is, but I haven't.
Heavy and long. It's like
but
3+ hours.
But
it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
It's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
So it's like awesome.
It's beautiful.
It's fun.
Right. And I
It's,
do love Cillian Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an incredible film, but when you watch it, like I watched that film and then I got off and I went back on like Twitter after, and there was like some influencer were like, yo, at Billie Eilish, let me fuck. And I was like, this is where we're at. Like, this is like, you know what I'm saying? And like, listen, we're here to entertain. We're here for these wonderful people watching this broadcast, this program right now to forget about the troubles of their day. But like, there's something about that period of time with quantum physics and nuclear energy and dude, the things that happened between 1938 and 1954 that will shape humanity for the rest of time. And by the way, all of this was done without computers.
Right.
All of that
That's
nuclear
mind-blowing.
fission and fusion research was done by hand with no computers.
When did Alan Turing make the computer? Was it during World War II, around there?
Maybe slightly thereafter, maybe like early 1950s.
This is just making me really face head on that like we're dumber now, and we should have been getting smarter, and we're just getting dumber, and
but
I hate it.
I think you're right in that too much information, like you said, when it's like when you're a generalist, you almost don't have like the want to really dive into something too deep. Like it's like when you're a jack of all trades, like you're not an expert in one thing, right?
It scares you.
But I think the same thing with information. It's because we have all the information at our fingertips.
Yes.
So it's like we aren't searching for things anymore. Whereas I think that time there was a lack of, and it's like I couldn't just, get on Google and see images of Thailand. Like I would have to imagine what was being written to me in a postcard by somebody to imagine what that place looked like.
They also say that like Nazis are the last bad guy. They're the last thing that everyone came together to hate because there's nothing like a Nazi. It's so easy to want to come together to kill Nazis.
It slightly moved on to the Japanese after that, but it obviously wasn't on the same level. And we've had some, honestly, like it almost feels like we're the enemy now in some ways.
To our literal selves.
And to an extent, it's somewhat accurate. I mean, I think beyond world police, we've been bullies at times, and it's a really, obviously, we're not going to get into the geopolitical theater on this episode of Trash Tuesday.
What kind of show are we?
Yeah.
I know. Who are we?
But it's just I don't know what it is about that time period that's just so incredible. And the thing that you were searching for that was prevalent at that time that is gone now is boredom.
Yes.
Boredom was the catalyst for so much greatness in this world. Being stuck alone in an apartment or a study hall or a room or a field.
Think about the phrase like twiddle your thumbs. People don't twiddle their thumbs ananymore because that's a long gone like phrase that
technically it's all we do.
Yeah, I mean
but
that's
there's just something there
to just sit around and like just sit on your fucking thumb or like do nothing, stare into space.
Use your imagination. That's how you become creative. And without that, like you're just, all the creative muscles are gone and they atrophy. Yep. And also like around what you're saying, you're sort of talking around this topic that I think about a lot. Like, for example, the last 10 years, all of a sudden every movie is available to us on streaming. There's so many movies. And then it kind of made me go like, I have access to every movie, so why do I need to watch a movie? Like when I have too much at my fingertips, it like makes me not care.
I've had one guiding cause, and I believe that purposeless discussion can be extremely entertaining, can be extremely fun, can pull people out of their ruts and give them a good time. But when you make someone feel something, which is very difficult to do in any day and age. When you make someone feel something, like Rod Serling makes you feel something when you watch those episodes, you have struck your gold and your purpose in life. And for me, that is talking about substance abuse and talking about mental illness. And I'm talking about The Fifth Vital, by the way, for anybody watching this who struggles with addiction or knows someone who's struggling with addiction. It's a book that I wrote about my own 8-year battle with opiate addiction, with methadone, Xanax, crack cocaine, and just a part of my life that is what made me who I am.
You know what I find super interesting about you too, Mike, is like when I ask you, like, we both like sweat a lot. We both have a lot of anxiety. Like we share a lot of the same like mental quirks, I would say. Mm-hmm. But when I asked you like what your family structure was like you love both of your parents, you loved your upbringing. And I think this is sort of a testament to what addiction can do, which is it'll snatch anybody from anywhere at any time. You don't have to be predisposed to addiction via trauma or bad things. And I think that more people do need to talk about the fact that you can come from a good supportive family. You can come from like a good upbringing and still completely lose your life.
And be a smart person who's like educated and has interests and a well-rounded life, it sounds like.
Right.
For sure. And I mean, currently, like at the place we're in right now, in the era of the great opiate epidemic, we had a crack epidemic in the 80s, early 90s, especially on the East Coast. But right now we're in a time where we're fighting, this massive opiate epidemic that is just swallowed a good chunk of the country.
It's crazy. So my sister was the head nurse for the city jails out here, and she was there for over a decade. And from the time she started, in jails. The reason she left jails to become like an occupational nurse instead is because she was like, Khalyla, it went from having like a man down being like someone sick in jail or collapsed or whatever that you have to give medical attention to, that you have to medically treat. She goes, it would go from having, that would happen maybe once a month where the alarms would go off because you would have someone either not kicking, but someone dying in your jails from opiates. She goes to 4 a day. And she was, the mental load for her, she was like, this drug epidemic, the fentanyl, she was like, it is, even as someone, as a caretaker, as like a medical professional in that setting, she goes, it was just too much for me. And she left.
I've lost 2 first cousins to fentanyl in the last 5 years. Like, this is so real.
And in the most tragic ways too. Like, I just had a friend who went out one night, partied, didn't test his coke, dad of 2 kids, just out, like passed out on the sidewalk.
It's just such an absolute prevalent story. There's not a single person watching this episode right now, no matter how many views it gets, that doesn't have someone that they know intimately that has struggled or died from an overdose. And I remember at my school, everybody was, started trying them on weekends at keg parties. Like, you would see girls sniffing them. We'd do 20 milligrams here and there. We're like, it's a pill, dude. Like, our parents did Vicodin and stuff. But there's 32 extra strength Percocets and 1 Oxycontin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's really no comparison. We were doing heroin when we were 16 years old. We just didn't know it. And there was no one telling us this, right? And so we went through this moment in time, this ground zero for the opiate epidemic, where no one knew what was going on. There were no parents. There was no meetings like there are now, concerned governments. It was just us, a bunch of kids, experimenting with these drugs. And within, 6 months of trying it for the first time, I would say, 40 or 50% of my graduating class in high school was addicted to opiates. I mean, people were nodding out in the hallways. People were, throwing up all over themselves, withdrawing from opiates in school. People's just eyes were just pinned, just really pinned pupils, just walking around, bloodshot eyes. And my life was saved by my probation officer, by Ellen Ferrari. And once again, I've given this lady more shout outs than you could ever imagine.
Shout out Ellen.
Ellen Ferrari, Milford, Connecticut probation. I mean, anyone that follows me knows this story, but I got switched over to Ellen by another probation officer. They had given me a lot of passes. Anytime I would give a dirty urine, they would say, well, he's in the methadone clinic. He's doing his outpatient rehab. Technically, like, what are we going to do? Like, throw him in jail, which usually they would, but for whatever reason they weren't. So I got switched over to Ellen Ferrari the first day I went to her, and she was like, okay, go pee. Let's make sure you're clean or whatever. So I go, I pee. She calls me back the next day and she's like, hey, Mike, it's Ellen, Milford probation. I'm just calling you to let you know that your urine came back. It was positive for cocaine. It was positive for opiates. It was positive for benzodiazepines. Tomorrow I'm going to need you to come here and you're going to go to detox tomorrow. We're going to have you sent to detox, or you can do your 5 years in jail tomorrow. Those are your choices.
Yeah.
Addicts are the biggest swindlers in the world.
Right.
Like we know how to finesse, right? And by the way, it's where I got a lot of my finesse from those years, to be honest. One of the good things I took from it. But I said, that can't be wrong. Test it again. What are you talking about? I didn't do any of that stuff. No, fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that shit. And she's like, 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I was like, Ellen, please. And then I switch it, please. Like, I'm going through a lot right now. My life at home, my grandfather's really sick, whatever.
Right.
Sure,
Tomorrow,
yeah.
10 a.m. hangs up the phone. And I'm sitting on the other side of the phone like, oh, fuck, dude. She just pulled my card.
Right.
I'm done. And so the next day, June 10th, 2010, June 23rd, 2010, sorry. I went to SCRC Detox, New Haven, and started my journey to where we are today. So I've been clean for coming up on 14 years now.
Amazing.
That's incredible. And so up until that point, the probation officers just didn't give a shit that you'd...
It wasn't that. It was just they're dealing with such a, like, we have such a broken mental health system and such a broken resource system here for people dealing with it. And there's only so much they could do. Like, I was in treatment.
Yeah.
But she saw more for me. And
wow.
I went back to Milford recently, and I stopped at I was walking through downtown, and they moved their office, and I looked, and it said Milford Probation on the wall. And I went up the stairs, and I was like, there's no way she's still here. It's been 14 years, right? And as I'm walking in, a kid walks out, sees me, starts freaking out. I read your book. You changed my life. You're the reason why I started getting clean, this is a conversation I have every day. Not every day, but I get the messages, right? But I saw him. He walks out. And while I was talking to him, somebody inside heard my voice. And I hear, when I get into the window, I know that voice. And I looked and there was Ellen Ferrari.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. And I got to tell her, I'm like, yo, Ellen, I want to tell you, you saved my life. Like, you saved my life. You're the reason why the Fifth Vital got written. You're the reason why I'm alive today. And she was like, no, you're the reason. And flipped it back on me and stuff, which,
heroes will never accept being heroes.
Yeah. And I was like, can I take a picture with you? And she was like, no. Because she's like almost like a cop. She's like a probation officer. She was like, no, you can't.
Boundaries. Hi, my name is Esther, and I have a movie, and it's called Drugstore June, and I wrote it, and I'm starring in it, and it's available digitally on Apple TV or whatever, wherever you buy movies. Check it out. I love you. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, I'm Khalyla, and if you're a fan of me, I do have another podcast called TigerBelly, and we have a live show in Hawaii, April 26th at Hawaii Theater. You can go to TigerBellyLive.com. TigerBelly shows are one of a kind. They're super fun, very interactive. They're not what you think a typical podcast show would go. It's super magical. Esther's been a part of it before. Again, go to TigerBellyLive.com, April 26th at Hawaii Theater. See you there.
Trash Tuesday is sponsored by BetterHelp. Can we talk about therapy for a second and how it's really important and then non-negotiable, actually?
We know that without it, I wouldn't be sitting on this lovely chair in this lovely room and with this lovely company. It's been an indispensable part of my life. It's something that I'm a work in progress. So are you. So hopefully so is everybody. And I don't think the progress can happen without therapy.
I am just going to be really honest in this ad read. I am struggling immensely with anxiety that I have not felt for years. At this end stage of pregnancy, being off my Lexapro, that I'm having very, very hard nights. And if I didn't have some of these tools that I use that I've learned from therapy, like, it's already hard, but without those, it would be a lot harder. And if you're even considering or thinking about therapy, that's a good sign that you should give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can always switch therapists at any time for no charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TrashTuesday today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Trash Tuesday. Skims. Skims. Bless you. Skims. You guys, today we are sponsored by Skims. And let me tell you right now, it's all about the Fits Everybody collection. I'm wearing it right now in my special areas. I'm wearing the dipped front thong.
You live in those.
Oh, baby.
Can I just say what's really hot about you is that throughout pregnancy, you have
thong every day.
You have stayed in your thongs. You've kept with a whale tail life.
And can I tell you why? Because Skims is so comfortable. It's the only thong I've ever tried that is actually comfortable. The Fits Everybody collection specifically is for the lazy hot girl. Okay?
I agree. I could not agree more. The reason that Skims is top priority for me in my closet is because you know that I am a comfort queen.
Yeah.
I will not give up comfort for anything else. And with Skims, I don't need to do that. I can be comfortable and be hot at the same time.
I need both in my life. And I also love the Skims. Highly recommend the triangle bra in the Fits Everybody collection. That with that thong, guess what? You have that under your clothes. You feel sexy all day, but you're also comfy, cozy. And once you touch that material where it feels somewhere in between like a nylon and just like the perfect soft, stretchy, thin next, just like almost like your skin, once you try that, you'll be like, oh, I'm getting rid of all my underwear and I'm only wearing this. That's what I did.
I'm going to say something maybe a little bit R-rated, a little bit racy, but Skims are my favorite underwear to have.
Pull to the side during sex.
Sex in, because it's the only underwear that you can comfortably pull to the side, and there's no friction anywhere else.
No comment.
Do you know what I mean?
I didn't say that. None of this was said.
Look, roll back to earlier episodes, even before Skims was our sponsor. I've been saying this for years. This is my go-to for when it's Lover's Hour.
And I love all the color options. We have all the shade range that you could ask for. I say start with the classic black, the onyx shade. Start there, then build out. Maybe a clay, maybe a sienna, maybe an ochre, an umber. Build your life out. You guys, the Fits Everybody collection is available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X. And you can shop now at skims.com. This is very important. After you place your order, we need the slugs to let them know we sent you. So select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show, Trash Tuesday, in the menu that follows. And to go straight to our favorite collection, the Fits Everybody collection, just go to skims.com/Trash Tuesday. I wanted to ask, so what are some of your other present day coping tools that you use to get through? Because, you also mentioned, we talked about boredom and how valuable that is to the brain. That's also a very challenging thing for most people and is what can trigger your need for your addiction. And so I'm just curious, how do you handle boredom and what are your coping tactics in general?
So definitely for me, exercise is number one. I think that when I got out of rehab in 2010, I was 285 pounds, which I know for 6'3", it's hard to really equate, but I got down to 175 after that, so I lost over 100 pounds.
That's insane.
And I had just a tremendous amount of really, really bad weight from just eating terrible when I was on heroin and Xanax especially, because you just eat so much. And I started riding a bike. And I found out that I loved cycling. And it's hard for me to say this because I've been working on this for so long and I feel so unaccomplished and not having delivered it yet. But I'm working on an organization called Mike's Bikes, which gives people who have shown promise in recovery a means to get to their NA meetings, to get to job interviews, to feel freedom from what it is that embodies their mind. And
can it also teach a 36-year-old pregnant woman how to ride a bike?
Oh, yeah. Do you not know how to ride a bike? Oh, man.
There's a couple things. There's a couple fundamentals that she's missed. One is riding a bike, and the other is swimming. Are there any of those where you're just like, I just did not learn that,
honestly,
and you're ashamed to admit?
Honestly, this is really a vulnerable moment for me. There's a number of funny things that I could say, but I don't know that I don't know that I really have the ability to feel love.
That took a different turn.
I know.
What?
I'm so sorry. I'm a work in progress, as I said earlier. And
do you mean receive love?
Yeah. I can do it through action, but my girlfriend, she knows all this stuff. We have conversations about this. I'm very transparent with her. And she knows that I
romantic love or any love?
I would say probably romance. I wasn't always like this, but I developed an attachment issue. I don't really know how to describe it.
Are you more on the avoidance?
Yes. See, girls understand it. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it almost plays into my anxiety to an extent. Yeah. And it's I don't know. It's something that I'm working on, and I'm open to exploring it, but it's I don't really know how to describe it.
That's sort of a huge step.
The
that
awareness.
Are we supposed to eat these bananas?
You don't have to. I do.
Okay.
I'm a banana freak.
I'm skipping it today.
I never miss a banana.
I usually, because mostly while I'm pregnant, I never know what's going to make me feel a little yucky.
Do you think bananas would?
It's just for me. There's taste in my mouth is weird. It's a whole thing.
Did you like them before you were pregnant?
Not that much.
No, you
To
like
be
them?
honest, I'll make a smoothie with this tonight. Like that's my real.
I feel like
game
you're
plan.
still getting all of the benefits of that.
What is the benefit of a banana?
Potassium.
Vitamin-
Don't
is
knock
that-
my favorite fruit in the world.
She went to
Mike.
nursing school, so she knows.
It also calms you down, I think.
Really? I
But-
can't. You know, I can't eat this like a normal banana on the show because it would be considered
Right.
glizzy gobbling.
Yeah, I do understand the politics of eating
Yeah.
long shaped
Yeah,
things.
oblong. That would be all that they would take out of this episode. Dude, we were with this kid the
That's
whole
fine.
time, but when we watched him gobble that banana like
Who cares
that,
about your sobriety and all the great
Yeah,
things
yeah.
you've done? Watch him
Yeah.
eat that banana.
Have you looked in or talked to a therapist or like dug in any more of what may be the cause of the avoidant attachment or where are you at with that journey of
it's
learning about
definitely
it?
from trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have bad PTSD from trauma. Man, I've seen some really, really nasty shit. I've had some really nasty relationships with women as well in the past.
Have you had any positive ones?
I got a positive one right now.
Yeah.
Real
Why
positive.
does this one feel positive compared to
She's
the others?
Great girl. So great. I mean, super mature. Super just like supportive of me and tells me that I need to be better to myself and teaches me to be better to myself and is just really tapped into the ways that she does that for herself and she's willing to like give me those teachings. She's patient
Mhm.
with me because I think in a lot of ways, and maybe this will help explain what I was getting at before. I think like I've been stunted developmentally, and it's a known thing that addicts.
Yeah. You started
don't
using
develop.
when you were a teenager,
I
of
was
course.
16 when I started using heavily, and so the years of 16 to 20, I got clean when I was 26. No, sorry. Yeah, so I got clean when I was 26. So I would say I lost between like 8 and 10 years to my addiction, right? And so like in a lot of ways, like in my mind, I'm probably like 30 years old or like even in my late 20s just because so much of my life has been stunted by addiction to like one thing or another. And now like honestly, it's something that I still battle with because, you know, like I still am always working. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm addicted to work now. Like I'm doing show after show. Like there's not
That's
really
what I
like,
wanted
a
to
ton of
ask you
time.
because you are such a person on the go. Like you fly here one night, then here, then here. Like you're sort of a madman in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel as though that is in itself a process addiction that you're
Yeah.
trying to, again, not,
Look at this.
oh Lord.
His list of 2024 flights, it's quite long.
Can you see that?
Interesting that you're keeping track of that.
And those are just the flights just so far this year.
Yeah, in the past 3 months.
That's insane.
24. And I'll do another 5 in the next like couple weeks.
Because
I've
I do
been
see
to-
that often. Like ex-addicts then throw themselves into work or into like a very intense like daily schedule.
Yeah, and I think, am I the only one that ate a banana?
Oh, I ate the whole
Oh,
thing.
and I think like
I don't miss banana breaks.
yeah, you're gonna eat the banana. And I think like that's another thing like that I also do want to caution people on is like sometimes there's like a much simpler like answer to your problems than what you're making it, right? And by that I mean like this anti-romance or like anti-avoidant as you described it, to me, I'll be like, oh, was this a result of trauma? Was this a result of this? And I'll call my mom and she'll be like, dude, you just have different priorities. You're so locked into your work, into your career that I think in your, and my girlfriend won't even really like tell me that I'm being these things. I just feel it. And so the thing that she always tells me is you're just being too hard on yourself. It's something that and that's something that people like us on the anxious side, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
We're constantly in a cycle of judging, critiquing, and blaming and regretting and thinking about things that we've done or are going to do.
It's flogging.
That we're beating the fuck out of it ourselves, right? And so, like, in a lot of ways, like, yes, my career is everything to me. I take it very seriously. And so right now what I'm trying to do is
Take your time.
Well, also it's
they'll clip this. You choking on the banana.
It sounds like your career is also your purpose, which is very amazing, and that's a great thing that you're dedicated to.
I have watched the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney enough times, okay, to remember his speech. I mean, that movie, let me put this like this. That movie is me. That movie is me.
Yeah.
I have the same status on every airline that he has. I have traveling down to a science. I've done just as many flights as he has. The pilot from American Airlines is about to come sit next to me and thank me for my 3 million or 10 million miles. Everything about this movie is me.
Including the scene where he finally knocks on the door of Vera Farmiga's and he realizes she's with her family.
She has her own family, she has her own kids, and she's been lying to him. That did not happen to me. That did not happen to me. For me, it was like a porn star or something, right? But like you could cycle that out for whatever else, right? But for me, in a lot of ways, he had a struggle, and I love that we're bringing this back to a movie because I love that, I love this art form of movies and storytelling. But he had to struggle very much with the idea that what he considered to be weight, those personal relationships in his life. In the beginning of the movie, he gives this speech about how everything in your life is weight. What is in your backpack today? Your house, put your house, your job,
That's right.
your coworkers, your girlfriend, your wife. You are now slower as a result of all of these things. And so his whole life is based on just having this little 1-bedroom condo. He doesn't want to have any deep relationships with anybody because he just wants to move. And that's who I've always been. And as the movie goes on, he realizes that the life of his family members is passing by. He wasn't invited to be the best note. He wasn't invited to do something at the wedding because someone else did it because they didn't think that he was even going to show up to the wedding. And then he falls in love and he realizes, wow, this is what life's about. And of course, it doesn't end up going well for him. But I believe that I'm in a lot of ways at a similar part of my life where I'm really realizing it's not about this rat race for money and for clout and fame and the boat in Ibiza with the I was a fucking whore for so long on the level that I could
Shout
never
out to
begin.
Ibiza though. I've had those
For
years.
sure.
Definitely
For
good
sure.
times.
Or Mykonos
Everybody
or
had
whatever.
these years but me.
You've never been to Ibiza?
No, I've never been on a
It's never
boat.
too
You
late.
should be the one that goes like the opposite way. You have the kid and then like you don't please
Honestly,
don't do
Esther,
that.
you do
Don't
that.
actually do that. Or
You
bring the
scared.
kid to Ibiza.
You do.
Formentera is beautiful.
I love Formentera.
Yeah.
My titties were out in Formentera.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had those
Formentera
years.
might be one of the prettiest places on the planet.
Yeah, the
It's stunning.
Balearic Sea is very, very good memes.
For
Great
sure,
memes.
for sure. But let's just keep them there. And for a lot of men out there, and for a lot of women out there, they're big on empty promises and words, and the actions don't reflect that, and
Gosh,
they cheat, and
That is the most painful part, I think. It's like when you have someone who's very affirming with their words, but the actions just never live
So
up
how
to
weird
them.
is it that I'm the opposite? So we're
Yeah.
at a weird 7-month standpoint right now where she wants to hear the words "I love you," which is very understandable.
Right.
And we didn't say that to each other when I was kids. Like we weren't that type of family.
That's
like I didn't say
interesting.
I love you every time I left the house. We didn't throw that around frequently. Like some people treat "I love you" like "love ya."
Yeah.
Love ya. And it's so easy for them to say in a moment of
Very
intimacy or
disposable, yeah.
like you're about to nut and it's "I love you so much," or you
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah.
For me, if I utter those words, you have entered a sanctum that 2 people are in. Maybe.
Right.
Do you say it to your mom now a lot?
I try to.
Okay.
But it's a very different thing for me.
You're just not practiced in those 3 words. It's not something you've.
It's not in your body.
It's just not in your it's not in your. But I was gonna say when you do show up for her, are you doing it out of this knowing, like this feeling of obligation, knowing in order for me to be a good boyfriend, I have to do X, Y, and Z versus actually being present and saying, hey, like those two.
No, I like doing good. I like doing stuff for people in general, and my girlfriend's one of those people, for sure. No, it to be able to give and to provide and to show up and to for me, like providing experiences, like showing her new places and cool things and movies and stuff like that, that gets me off. Now, she falls asleep during every fucking movie within the first 3 minutes. Like, to talk about this, the other night, in my brainiac ways, we're laying in the bed in this beautiful Mexican resort in Playa del Carmen, and she's like, let's watch a movie, babe, your pick. And for me, I'm just like, oh shit, let's go, dude. But like, I'll usually nowadays be like, okay, do comedy or something like lighthearted. But I really shot for the fences the other night, and like, dude, within 3 minutes of Zero Dark 30, bro, this chick, like, within 3 minutes of watching this prison guard torture this dude at Abu Ghraib or a Pakistani black site. And so what happens is I'm watching the movie and I just see her and she goes like this. She goes, like, and looks around because she has no idea where she is because she had just been like, she fell asleep and then she looks at me and I go, what was the last thing you saw? And she goes, what do you mean? And I was like, what was the how long has it been? How long do I have to rewind? What was the last thing that you saw? And she goes, the guy was in the truck with the other guy. What are you talking about? I just saw it. I go, that was 46 minutes ago. Movie's done. And I'll just turn it off because I'm like, dude, like, I've already seen Zero Dark 30 462 times.
Right.
I'm only watching this because I want to live vicariously through you as you watch these torture tactics. Like, I want you to see what I've saw for the first time,
Right.
What movies does she like that
she's cool. That's the thing. She's a cool girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a cool girlfriend. And like, no offense to other girlfriends I've had, but you weren't as cool as my cool girlfriend.
Aww.
All right? I'm sorry. My current girlfriend is cool as shit.
Cool girl.
And so like, she dude, she shows me songs and stuff, right? But she also will just try to steal my whole playlist because I have this private playlist that she's a part of. And then when I get in her car, when I go to Miami, because she lives in Miami, it's all my songs. And she plays it like they're her songs. And I'm like, dude, these aren't your songs. This is my playlist. You put them on your playlist. You stole my playlist and you're claiming for it to be yours now. But like she picks some little cues up, and that's one of obviously like guys' favorite things is to be able to show a girl like cool shit. But no, she showed me a movie that I swore I would never watch. You guys already know what I'm talking about. I promised everyone, I promised every girl I would never watch it. I promised every guy that no girl would ever make me watch
Let me
it.
guess.
Pull it up. You can pull it up on the screen. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. That's
Really?
the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that bad boy
I knew
on
that too.
Valentine's Day.
And did you absolutely love it?
It was a good movie. No, it was a good movie. For sure, dude. It was a good movie. Like, to say that was not a good movie.
Their chemistry was crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think they bonked at like in real life?
They were together.
Yeah.
They dated.
Oh, my bad. Now I know there's a bunch of fanfic girls that are gonna be pissed at me about that.
Wait a second. I do want to ask you this question because I know I watched your episode with Sophia, and I know that you are friends with exes, and I wanted to know your general thoughts about when it's okay to be friends with exes and when it's generally like, no, like this cannot happen.
Oh, you guys do some drama on this show.
Some, yeah.
You can be friends with your ex until your ex decides to talk shit about your current girlfriend.
Oh, shit.
That's a blatant line. As soon as anyone disrespects your lover, that relationship's done, dude.
Oh yeah, that's done.
Like if unless it's like your brother or your best friend or whatever, and you have to have a real talking to them about it and be like, yo, what you did. Like, I've had that talking to when I've not purposely, but I've mistakenly or in some way disrespected other people's girlfriends. And I've had that talk with people like, hey man, you're my best friend. That's my future wife. Like, this shit's done. You never speak like that ever again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been on the opposite end of those conversations. Yeah. So when it's an ex that the person that you're dating is already like a little bit not great about, as soon as that person crosses the line,
understandably
it's over.
so, yeah.
But say that doesn't happen, say they're very respectful. I mean, listen, it just comes down to the individual person.
Right.
I think the majority of girls don't want their current boyfriends talking to their ex-girlfriend, and vice versa. Guys are just as territorial. I'm a little bit sick. Okay, in that
It's okay. You're in good company.
No. In that, like, I have like a really, as much as I have anxiety, I also have a really like weird thought about myself that like you can like kind of really like talk to other people because you're not gonna fuck this up with me. And I know that's so narcissistic to say, but like if I found out that like my girl was like had a phone call with her ex or something, I would just be like, oh, like what did he say? You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't start flipping out about it because I would be like, I deliver in every
You're
vertical.
secure.
You're secure.
Secure, exactly.
That's great.
I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Well,
Yeah, you're not
avoidant, but then you're avoidant sometimes with the commitment stuff, but you're secure in what you bring to the relationship.
My ex-girlfriend, to speak quickly on it, used to get DMs, and I'm not going to name specific people, but used to get DMs from the biggest actors.
We're talking about Lana.
Lana.
Yeah.
Used to get DMs from the biggest actors, rappers, athletes on the planet, okay, literally while we were dating. And they would message her, and they probably didn't even know she was in a relationship with little old me because what do they care? They just know that she's a sex worker and she would whatever, right? And there was never a moment where I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to lose this. I am so secure in how I know a girl feels about me
This is
that
good
I
mother.
just
Good relationship
never-
with mom.
I don't know how to describe it. I honestly like if she tells me that one of them disrespected her, it's a different story, right?
Right.
And I've had some beefs. I had some beefs with some rappers that I'm not going to name because I didn't even really want to beef with them because they'd probably murder me. But there was some nasty attempts on her by rappers who were in relationships with other very high profile entertainers.
Right.
And I was going to go on Twitter and tag their better half and say, yo, come get your man.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
the
you know
urge
what?
would be strong for me too, especially if they're
right.
like they're known and they're famous, where it's like, all right, dude, like I'm just honking the horn here. Come get your fucking shitty boyfriend.
But do you want to know what she did and what my current girlfriend does? As soon as that DM came through, it would be in my face. Like, how do you want me to respond to this? Or would you like to?
Right.
Immediately. Didn't matter if it was Drake. Didn't matter if it was Ronaldo. I'm not saying that these were things that happened. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, right? But if as soon as that DM came through, this person just DM'd me and you are dating, how do you want me to deal with it?
I love this.
And that's that's the same thing that I get from my current girlfriend, because when you provide the way that you should, girls are not like men. The majority of girls are not like men. Men have to work a little bit. I'll just say it to not wander. Okay.
Yes.
There are girls who do too.
Sure, but if our needs are met.
Correct. Oh, as soon as you stop meeting those needs, that's a different story.
Right.
Especially for some girls. But as long as you are providing relationship security, your actions reflect the things that you're promising, meaning you're not cheating. They're not in any way worried about you being unfaithful. You're providing for them a friendship, a loyal friendship. You're providing for them some level of entertainment and fun and excitement in their lives, whatever it is that you're able to do. That could be Applebee's, that could be Ibiza, right? Whatever it is. And you're showing up where it matters in the bedroom as well. That's another great thing. And some girls might not even require that, but when it's a good thing, okay? So if you're handling those aspects, those important aspects of life, and they feel like the relationship is moving down a path at least some way, albeit however slow it is, in the right direction, you can find girls that are unwilling to waver no matter who it is that's going after them and how ferocious they are.
100%.
They are locked in. Women create a physiological bond with males that does not see wealth. It does not see artistry. It does not see fame. It sees nothing.
Aren't we amazing?
No,
it
it is one of
sucks.
the
We
most
get chemically
incredible
trapped.
This is going to
things.
shock you, Mike. I've never received a DM from Drake or any
Yeah.
super famous rappers. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, I always loved it when I always love it still when partners let me handle that shit on my own or have faith in me that I can turn this person down. Like I don't need my partner to fight those battles.
You shouldn't.
And I don't want them to, and I want to say no on my own accord because it comes from me and not because like my boyfriend is hovering over me. And I love that feeling of being like it's a no, not because I have a partner. It's a no across the board.
Right.
Can I share the toxic version, which I used to engage in my 20s, which was like in the unhealthy relationships to sort of gain attention in the relationship. It's like, oh, well, guess who was hitting me up today and guess who is interested? And then the other person is meeting me at my toxic level and they're like, what the fuck? They get all angry. And, and then the second I try that with my now partner, he's like, okay. He doesn't care. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, okay.
And by the way, switch goes off in your head like, okay, check that box. That's not working.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
He's
And by
me.
the way, like that's another example, whether you're in a toxic relationship or not, of like I just am also not ever like a super tight leash person in general. Like and I'm sure nowadays you can't even say that because people will be like, what are they, dogs? Like a leash? Like,
well, I used to babysit for a Beverly Hills housewife and they know everything. And she always told me that when you're with a man, keep him on a long leash. So I think leash play
goes both ways. Leash play is both ways.
100%. People need their freedom. People need to maintain their individuality and their individual identity. It's so important. And if you feel like you cannot trust your partner to handle a situation like that in their own accord without you running into a bar where a guy might be, then you're with the wrong partner. You're
Right.
with the wrong partner. There is not a day that goes by where I ever had to or have to worry about my partner. It just does not. It doesn't happen. If that day comes, now, as on a side note, once we broke up, she got impregnated by a basketball player, by an NBA star. You know what I'm saying, Lana, right? So like, yes, like once there's a breakdown, that all goes out the window, right? But we had been broken up for a year. None of that matters. It's not a part of the storyline whatsoever, right? But that is how I don't even remember where we started all of this. Like
being friends with exes.
Right. Yeah. I just don't think. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the quality of or the security.
It's a case by case because there are definitely exes of mine who, if I encountered on the streets, like I would punch in the dicks, like just right there. Like,
I ironically don't have the relationship with any of my exes.
There are exes of mine that were just terrible.
Scumbags.
To this day, I still think are terrible human beings who will never, ever have a morsel of accountability. So I'm like, okay, like just, I hate them. And then there are exes like Bobby, who I think is going to be not just a friend, but one of my best friends probably for the rest of my life. Like, so, and we were together for a decade. So it's case by case.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that when you start the relationship, there's almost that feeling of like, do we go romantic or are we just meant to be friends? Because that friendship is so deep. You're like, oh, I get you. Like we're connected, like in this way. And then
it's like that soul bond.
Yeah, it is a soul bond.
Do you ever
ask me?
Do you ever see like? Is there any possibility that you guys ever get back together?
I ask this like once a week.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm fitting right in here.
I think that there was a point not too long ago where I thought that was still a possibility. And there are a lot of times in the last 2 years where I've been like, hey, you're done with me, right? Because I'm moving on. Like, just want to make sure you're done with me. And I think I was asking that question because there was a part of me that still left sliver open in case he was ready to finally like step up and whatever. But now, no. And
damn.
The reason is I just want something so different. Bobby is 52 2. He is reliving sort of this, like, he is like kind of, there's a youth about him. Like, he is just having so much fun. And we're not on the same page. Like, I want a family. I want a steady partner. I want to have a life outside of the industry. I want to be able to turn everything off, like we talked about earlier. There's a part of me that yearns for like a simple, like loving life. And I think he is too addicted to the rush of this kind of life.
And he would probably admit that. He would
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
No,
agree
we've
with
talked
that.
about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
That was so well articulated.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we're there anymore. And I changed. And I've, he met me when I was 27. I'm 28. I'm 39 now. And I'm just a different person. And I want to chill the fuck out. I want to have a baby. I want a loving partner to just fucking do nothing with.
Yeah.
And he's just not that. Bobby he runs hot, very similar to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I think he was out of the womb. There's just some people who are so wonderfully magical, but run hot. And he is one of those.
Yeah, it's been something that and thank you for sharing that. It's interesting. And I think you nailed it. You really did articulate it perfectly. I think that's something that I'm just working on it as I go because like up in the air, I see the magic and I feel the magic at times, right? And so we'll see how it all plays out. And that's the art of this life. It's a puzzle, and a lot of little pieces come together, and in the end, you've created this beautiful tapestry that is your life. And some of the pieces are fucked up and smashed up and beaten up, and other pieces are perfect and worked out perfectly. And you just take it day by day, and you build it out as you go, and right now in my life, I'm continuing to put together that little outline. So I know who I am and how it's contained and where this type of stuff fits. And like all of us, we're all just figuring it out as we go. And so,
there's this thing that people speak about art and being an artist and the journey of being an artist that really is coming up for me with what you're talking about with your attachment and receiving love, which is people say that before you're able to create great art, you just kind of know what art you like and what you don't like, but you can't make the good art yet. And so it's almost like you kind of are knowing what you want, but you're not able to do it yet, but that is how you get there.
I know, and that's another thing that I've been loving about all of this is like everything I'm doing is putting me on the path to get there, right? And like we've had our moments, and she's been extremely patient with that, and I've been like, dude, listen, like I'm working on it. I'm working on making time. I'm working on being present. I'm working on those moments of affection that may be missing from the things that I've been through, and from maybe in some ways I've become hardened in certain ways, and I need to break those walls down again and become this more loving, person and more vulnerable in that aspect of my life.
I don't take this the wrong way, but like you come off like I see the mush in you.
Yeah, I know.
Like I can feel it. Like it's so close. It's like right there.
Yeah.
But maybe there are some things still like blocking.
That's legitimately what it is.
But it's there. It's definitely, it's not something that needs to grow or hasn't existed. The mush is there. I think you just need to like unlock it.
The mush is very likable.
And a mush is the best.
I hope you're inspiring other guys who aren't able to be so in touch as you are. Like I hope that, because you feel like you're setting a good example of being like, I'm avoidant. Like there's so many men I would love to hear just say that.
Just say it, right?
Oh my God, dude. The best thing you can ever be, and the most, like, really one of the most attractive things in this world is aware. Dude, like if you're just simply aware of your shortcomings and you don't even really need to be vulnerable enough to express them in any setting. I do that too. I'm so far out there. Like I'll tell you, like you guys were talking about hemorrhoids on the last podcast. Like we
went a different direction this one.
Good.
Huh?
No, I mean we could get into it. You know what I'm saying? But like,
you got some?
Not right now. Okay, not right now. But like, I'm willing to talk about and express everything because I'm an open book. But if you can just prove that and show that you are aware, even to yourself, of your shortcomings, and you know what those weaknesses are, that is such a beautiful thing to show to people, because there's so many people out there, like obviously the youth, but even in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who are so unaware of what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're affecting others, how they're
But to the rest of the world, it's like they have this like facade and everyone believes they're so
Isn't it
fucking
frustrating?
great.
Isn't it frustrating?
Oh my God, it literally keeps me up at night.
I see it. No. I see it all day. I see it all day. A lot of it exists obviously on X, and X has become completely detached from reality. I mean, it's just it's the wild fucking west of, like, God bless free speech, but like the shit that is being said and shared there. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the TigerBelly episode, so we won't get into conspiracy theory on this one, but like, dude, these people that believe that they have some sort of achievement of real wokeness, not the wokeness from 5 years ago, but this new wokeness of breaking out of the matrix and like knowing these things that somehow they've been entrusted to know, but no one else knows, and they're going to school everybody. It's just such a sickening thing.
That shit is like Messiah complex.
No,
like,
it is the most
like,
insane thing I've ever seen. And and by the way, they're the same people who claim to be the soldiers of God.
Not only that,
who by the way are playing God.
It's I fucking hate it. It keeps me up at night, and I'm not
Don't
even
let it do that. Turn off your phone.
I know.
After this episode, which I'm going to piss my pants soon, and I know we're probably close. You're pregnant.
Okay. She's already pissed her pants.
Yeah, she already pissed her pants in this episode. Please, after you watch this episode this evening or this afternoon, please put your phone down. Please put your phone down for a little while, digest some of the stuff that we talked about, see if any of it's applicable to your life, see if any of it resonates with the story that you're currently going through. And if you are out there watching this episode right now, you're having the worst day of your life, you're holding on for dear life, you're struggling, you're trying to make ends meet, you're dealing with addiction, you're dealing with voices in your head, you're dealing with the struggle that so many of us face, and that includes me, somebody who goes through it every single day and loves you and cares about you. Your life matters, and it gets better. So please just zoom out, look at your life, and understand not every day is a good day, but that doesn't mean tomorrow's not going to be one. So just keep going. And yeah, that's my message.
So sweet.
Mike, we would love to see you again soon.
Whenever you guys want.
We have a lot to cover still.
Fit in.
So much. We barely touched the Twilight Zone.
I know. But I'm going to go watch some tonight. I'm excited. I'm in the mood.
Wait, what do you remember the title of the shelter one? Because that's the one I'm going to watch.
The bunker or the shelter?
I think it's called the
shelter. Okay.
See, I even know the names of the it's really, really like scary. Like I know like kind of what seasons they were from. I even know like the weird ones, like where they end up on this weird train that doesn't like have a stop, but the last stop is like they die. Like weird cities that end up that don't have people in them.
Shit.
Wait,
I forgot what it's called.
What?
There are so many. The episode where the quarter stands on one end. The episode where obviously the most famous, Nightmare 30,000 feet.
Yeah. What about the banging? The sailor.
The Martians. I thought you were talking about the old lady where the aliens attack.
No, not that
and they
one.
They stab her in the leg and they're this big.
Oh my god.
There's just so many episodes. I would please, if I could promote two things right now. One of them is the Twilight Zone. If you have not watched the Rod Serling classic, The Twilight Zone, please go dive into some of the top episodes of the show. There's so many. It's such an incredible show. And if you feel like reading or listening to an audiobook, please pick up The Fifth Vital. If you are struggling with any of the things that we talked about on today's show, it's a best-selling book that's available on Amazon and Audible. It is my life's work. It's the most important thing that I've ever done and probably the most important thing that I'll ever do. And so please check that out.
Where can we get smash burgers?
1010 Burger coming to a city near you soon. That's a passion project for me, but god dang, it takes a long time to do brick and mortars. Holy shit. There's so many obstacles. But maybe if you're at, Coachella or if you're at a place like that, there will be pop-ups everywhere.
Nice.
Cool. At 1010 Burger on Instagram. I love a smash burger, so I will be following this account.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. And thank you to our listeners, and we will see you next week with a brand new episode as always.